Born in the Siberian wilderness, Aleksandr Karelin weighed 12 pounds at birth. He trained in a variety of sports as a child, including weightlifting, volleyball, basketball, skiing, swimming, and boxing. At the age of 13, he began wrestling, and eventually cementing himself as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. As a teenager, Aleksandr stood 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed 174 pounds. He was already taller than both of his parents. It was common in the Eastern Bloc to develop a child's athletic base with a variety of sports before specializing them in their early to mid-teens. This ensured a wide range of skills and a solid base, which reduced the risk of injury and burnout. In 1988, Karelin won his first Olympic gold medal in Seoul. He went on to win additional Olympic gold medals in Barcelona in 1992, where he wrestled for only 7 minutes, and Atlanta in 1996, despite suffering a pec tear. Karelin also won 9 world championships. American wrestler Jeff Blatnick said that it was considered a victory if you didn't get thrown by Karelin. Karelin's other records include a 13-year winning streak, 887 consecutive victories, and a 6-year streak where no one scored a single point on him. But just how strong was Karelin? From the little information we have, we know that Aleksandr built strength in his hands by rowing a wooden boat until his hands bled, and that he built stamina by running like a wild beast with a log on his back through the frozen woods. He was also able to raise his legs straight over his head, an amazing feat of flexibility for a man who stood 6'3" and weighed upwards of 300 pounds. It almost felt like the Rocky IV montage turned into reality. From a Russian interview, we know that the overhead press was his lift of choice and that he would typically do 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions. He also talked about his bench pressing numbers, which were around 450 pounds, but we have no idea if this was a 1 repetition max or was done for multiple repetitions. Pavel Tsatsouline mentioned that Aleksandr was doing Zercher squats for 10 reps with 440 pounds, but compared with the Karelin lift, where he deadlifted heavy weights from the ground and threw them around like dolls, this should have been an easy task. Lifting a heavy deadlift is definitely impressive, but it becomes significantly more challenging when trying to lift a heavyweight human body that is resisting your efforts. This is particularly difficult because the majority of their weight is concentrated in the lower region, making it a doubly strenuous task to not only overcome their resistance, but also deal with the imbalance that comes with it. In other footage, we see Karelin performing several leg exercises, such as box jumps and leg presses. He also does different curl variations with a mixed grip and 32-kilo kettlebell curls. A fellow wrestler named Tuomo Karila stated that Karelin's routine included 40 to 50 chin-ups, which would be an insane amount considering his larger frame and body weight. We can also see Aleksandr performing multiple alternating overhead kettlebell presses. Someone mentioned that he once did a 420-pound clean press, but this has never been verified. The so-called Russian bear performed various bodyweight exercises such as push-ups, handstands, and rolling variations. These exercises are common in amateur wrestling as warm-ups. One of the most interesting facts I came across was his participation in the 1991 European Hercules Strongman competition. He placed 8th without any prior preparation. In the video, we can see Karelin rowing a bus, dragging different heavy objects, and carrying a heavy bag over his shoulders. These are all activities that would fit his training style perfectly. In the older strongman competitions, there was less regulation and more randomness, something that reminded me of the early days of the UFC. As for his diet, not much is known. However, an athlete of his size would likely need to consume a ridiculously high number of calories in order to maintain his weight. Wrestling tends to be one of the most calorie-intensive activities, and with Aleksandr doing multiple sparring sessions, he may have needed to consume 7,000 to 9,000 calories per day. That's all for today. If you're interested in some more crazy former amateur wrestlers, you can check out how the Steiner brothers terrorized the world of pro wrestling.